Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Hello, and welcome to our monthly broadcast. We're looking at the energies and the opportunities of the remainder of July, and then we're going to go into and look at the upcoming month of August. So in our monthly broadcast, which we do every month complimentary, we cover the universal news that affects us all, and we're particularly going to be focusing in this remarkable year of 2020, the latter part of July, through the entire month of August. This time in the evolution of humanity is like no other we've ever experienced. It's bringing dramatic change that's compelling a whole global revolution. I mean, if you haven't noticed, we're sort of in it. So, following a set of 3 game-changing eclipses last month, this time period marks a pivotal point in which the future well-being of humanity actually hangs in the balance. So in our broadcast, we'll be tracking and interpreting the energies through both the astrological matrix and the human design matrix. So we gain a deeper understanding of the energies at play, what to do about them, how they affect us in our life, and how we can take the highest possible expression of those energies and put them to use in our life for our greater success and well-being, and for our mutual, all of humanity's well-being. Before we begin, we've got a jam-packed session ready for you now. Before we actually begin looking at the energies, I want to let you know that this month we have Shatan's Human Design Reading Special. And that's a 90-minute deep dive offered to everybody in our community who wants to have a really expert human design reading that's more than just an exchange of information, but that's a transmission of powerful, energetic possibility that awakens you to your design in a way like just getting the information can't possibly do. The beauty of this particular promotion, we want you to know about it because we really want to invite you to take advantage of it, is that deep dive with Shatan, which is priceless. Then you'll also have a follow-up session with me at Success Coaching on specifically how you're using your design in your life now, plugging it into your life circumstances now, and how you can make the highest use of all the information that you just received in order to create the outcomes that you're desiring to create. So take advantage of this now. I'm going to let you know how to go. I want to let you know that our business coaches, both of them, have really kind of laid down the law to us about our pricing. So we've kept this particular offering at the same fee for the last 7 years. And this may be, it probably most likely will be, the last time we ever do a summer readings campaign at this price point. It does have a payment plan with it to make it easy for you if that's in any way a barrier. It's one of the most important pivotal investments that you'll make in yourself in your entire lifetime. So we invite you to take a look at it. Go to our website, humandesignforusall.com, humandesignforusall.com, and go up to the top navigation, go to services, click down to summer-readings, and that'll get you there so you can read all about this opportunity to work closely, deeply, one-on-one, and get our personal coaching. Okay.
Very good. Well, I look forward to reading for you.
All right. So we're going to start. We're looking at, we're going to back up a bit because the broadcast date for today is the 25th of July, but we're going to back up to the 20th of July just for a quick dip back into the new moon that happened on the 20th of July. That new moon, each new moon and every month begins a new month-long cycle. And it's a new cycle of experience. So what's going to be in the quality of our experience for all of us during this time? So starting on July 20th and going through to about the 21st or 22nd of August, we're going to be looking into this entire pattern. So what we have at the new moon is a very powerful aspect, because not only is the sun and moon together at 28 degrees of Cancer, which means that we're starting a new cycle of self-care, self-nurturing, of commitment to family, to home, to the things that really mean the most to us in life. And at the same time, that new moon has an opposite planetary opposition with the planets Jupiter, which is expansion, Pluto, which is deep transformation, and Saturn, which is challenges, all very tightly opposed. So what does this mean? It means that any challenges that we might be experiencing around our family values, our sense of security, they're important. Those are challenges that we're meant to be having right now, because they're deeper questions we're meant to be asking ourselves about what truly has meaning for us. What do we truly value? And how do we go about cultivating more of that value, bringing that more into our family life, our home life, but also into the fabric of everything we do in our life? It's a signaling a time of a big humanitarian change that's going to start the process of changing the global face of humanity and our experience for the next hundreds and hundreds of years. And we have some aspects that are highly compelling at this time. We've got, of course, when the sun is about to go into the sign of Cancer, well, it's already gone into it by our broadcast date. But when it goes out of the sign of Cancer and into the sign of Leo, which it does or did on July 23rd, then we've got a 30-day period with the sun in Leo where everything in us wants to play, wants to be creative, wants to enjoy. And we do have some aspects that will support some of that. Venus and Mars together can make for nice romance and nice creativity, but we also have some challenges to it. Romance may still be high during this time, as it has been for a bit of a while, but any illusions that we have around it need to really be confronted at this time. So we're taking a hard look at some important decisions that we need to be making that are going to, again, inform the quality of our life for the coming months. Over to you, Shatan.
Well, is life crazy enough for you yet? Do you feel it's going to get any easier or any lighter on us? And I'm just sorry to say, in some ways, that no, it's not. It's going to get even more crazy as the month of August goes forward. So, you know, we always have the opportunity to buy into the craziness, to get swept up in it, or to remember we are a unique consciousness, we are a unique presence here in our lives. And just to always, when you can remember, get back to your own type and authority, just to see, okay, what's really going on inside me. It's just, August is going to be pretty crazy. All of us, by transit, for the last couple of months, we've had this transiting Pluto in gate 61, Uranus in gate 24, making up this channel where you've probably noticed your mind is a little busier these days than it has been. All of us have this transit. And, you know, the 61 is this gateway in human design, we call it the gateway of inner truth. Now, truth is one thing, stories are another. You know, ideas, concepts, formula, they're all something else. But the truth is singular. The truth is really, really clear. And Pluto's sitting in there. And as Carola was saying, you know, Pluto is very much this planet of transformation. And so all of us are just being, let's just say, realigned with what it is that's really truthful, what resonates with us on a deep level. Uranus, this planet of the big wake up, the Aquarian planet, if you will, is in gate 24 on the other end, and it's working out what it is that Pluto's sending through to us. So our minds are going mile a minute at the moment, trying to establish, what is my reality now? Because for sure, we are not going back to where we were. We're not even going back to where we were last week. So all the rules, all the concepts, all the belief systems, all this stuff that has kind of buoyed us up for so long in our lives, going along with it all, it's disappearing rapidly. And so what's the context of that is, we're all being drawn closer and closer and closer into present tense, living our lives present. And that really is the message of this moment, is to be present, be paying attention to your own design, pay attention to your own authority. What is it that's guiding you in your life? So this new moon that Carola was just talking about, it took place in the gate 56, which is the gateway of stimulation. We call it the wanderer. And very often, when this particular aspect of the sun being in this part of the sky happens, we're very ready to go on a vacation or on a travel or a trip of some sort. And, there's quite a bit of restriction around that. So perhaps we had to imagine, we had to go on an imaginary journey rather than actually, take to the skies and go and sit on the beach somewhere. But anyway.
Well, right.
So 56 is the gateway that has a lot to do with how we express our beliefs. And of course, we compound our beliefs by the experiences that we have, the places that we go, the people we meet, the things we hear, the things we read, the things we watch. It took place in the third line, which is the line that's called being thorough, examining any and all fixed beliefs. You examine and update your beliefs, or you are careless how you associate them into your life. And it's just saying all of our beliefs are being majorly challenged at the moment. Who's telling the truth? Who's got the right end of the stick? And the answer in the end always has to come down to us. We are having to be more and more responsible in our own lives at the moment. So that is the overriding feature this particular channel stays in by transit all the way through late November of this year. So forgive yourself if you find your mind is overworking on things, but also thank it every now and again for sharing with you, for giving new concepts or bringing you into alignment with what really is going on these days. The answer is always inside. We all have the answer to what our life is about. And so this is really bringing home to us. Resonate with that, find that truth within. That is the only important thing for you in this lifetime. So let's have a look as time goes on towards the later part of this week.
So a couple days later, after our broadcast here, July 27th, we have a first quarter moon. So the first quarter moon coming from the new moon that sets the stage for a 30-day cycle of experience. The first quarter moon is the first really sort of turning point within. So it's a pivotal time in the month. And what we see there is that although we have a set of very flowing aspects and positive aspects that are bringing opportunities and insights and flow and pleasure, and we also have a set of extraordinarily challenging aspects, especially right here at this first quarter moon in a couple of days, 27th of July, Venus, the planet of love and our values and what brings us pleasure and joy in life, art is and money is in an exact right angle to Neptune. And so what that's saying is if there's any illusions you've been having about your love life, about your monetary flow, about your values associated with money or associated with romance and love and beauty, any of those illusions are going to really come up to the surface for you to take a look at, to clear. We can have really deeply moving spiritual realizations and creative new ideas now all the way until early August with some of the aspects that we see going on with Neptune. But we also have this, let's just check through with your values and your relationships. Is it really in alignment? Are you in alignment with your values and what really you're putting your energy into? The other aspect, just we have a last of this now, the planet Uranus, which is the planet of awakening to higher states of consciousness, forming this linking aspect with Mercury, which is about communication. So this has brought highly creative, out of the box kind of thinking that's bringing new innovation and really, brings us to the forefront of opening new options for ourselves, which is part of what's getting birthed in this highly challenging year. With your lover, with those that you're close to, if you're having arguments, you're having different points of view, see if you can find a place in which you can come together and accept some aspects of the other person's view. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if we looked at the political scene just in America right now, if the Democratic Party and the Republican Party were actually really making some effort to have some communication for the well-being of society? And you see the effects it's having on our country, on the world, when we don't have alignment with the leaders and the lawmakers in our country. Well, it's sort of the same in our personal relationships. If we have different viewpoints or different ideas, or we've got an issue, which, what couples don't have issues, right?
I can't imagine.
If we can simply seek to discover what about my partner's viewpoint has some truth to it that I can honor. What can I move towards a little bit here? Can we work together a little better? So that's the potential of what can come out of this challenging aspect. But Mercury is in a highly volatile aspect with Mars. Mercury is a planet of communication. Mars is a planet, it's the god of war. It's more than that, but it's volatile. It's in its home. Mars is in its home sign of Aries, which makes it even more volatile. It's impatient. And this aspect is also coming exact at this point in time, the 27th of July, at this first quarter. So flare-ups, arguments, big disagreements are possible at this time if we don't approach the differences that we have with others with a lot of consciousness, equanimity. Do some meditation first, do some deep breathing, and really get your inspiration. Mercury also, in addition to being in these challenging aspects, in a very flowing aspect with Neptune, which is our higher inspiration and spiritual connection. So we can go right to source for the answers. And that would be the most creative way to work with it. And speaking of creativity, the sun firmly in the sign of Leo now, traveling through this amazing fire sign, makes us want to get out there, do things, travel, experience. Shaitan and I were laughing. We were due to be first in Italy teaching this July, and then over to France for a vacation. And instead, we're at home having our windows cleaned and doing our carpets.
The best laid plans.
I mean, it could be more exciting right now. How can we make it more rich and full? Can we find ways to enjoy the simple things, the connections, the pleasure? I mean, I was just agape at a sunset the other day. It was so astoundingly beautiful. I was just thanking God for it. It's like, wow, it filled my heart. What can you find of beauty? What can you find that can inspire your creativity? Because there is a lot of creativity in this latter part of July, and then as we move into early August.
So I'm going to move ahead to the end of the month and the 30th of July. And this is a day in which Venus drops into gateway number 12. Now, if you remember in our last broadcast, Venus was doing a retrograde. It was going back through certain signs. It was giving us the opportunity to reevaluate, what we see as valuable for us in our lives. Who and what, who do we really care for? What is the expression of our love in the world? Towards whom and what? And how is that reciprocated? So now it's gone into gateway number 12. It's the gateway we call stand still. And it's a gateway where we get a great opportunity to kind of look ahead and see ahead. And it just happens that for the past several months, planet Neptune, which we might say is the higher octave of Venus, is sitting in gateway number 22. And those of you familiar with the human design chart will see we got this whole channel, the 1222, by transit. It starts off with Venus in there, Venus on one end, you know, personal love arrangements, and Neptune on the other end of it, love for love's sake arrangements, you know, love of this whole extraordinary journey that we're having here. And it just turns out it's a manifesting channel in humanism terms. And not only that, it's an emotional manifesting channel. So, you know, I was kind of teasingly say, you think it's going to calm down a little bit? Well, actually not, you know, because this transit energy is going to bring about something very, very different. Everybody's going to get very emotionally charged. And if you don't think people's emotions are running high already, hang on to your hat, because it's really going to come out. What can I say about this? You know, it's the channel that we call openness. It opens doorways into things that we haven't paid attention to before. And the fact that Neptune's sitting in that doorway, the gateway 22, which is the gateway of grace, you know, we are graced here in this life to be here, to be having this particular experience here. We are more and more acquainted with the beauty of the world around us. And part of what can be manifested in this time is something really, really amazing. But to do that, one has to be really comfortable within one's emotional environment. So I'm just putting us all on notice. I'm including myself being put on notice here, you know, that emotions are likely to be pretty volatile. And you might think, oh, well, maybe this is just going to last for a week or two. No, it's going to go through all the way beginning of October. This is also what we call an individual channel in human design. It's different. It's a partner to this 6124, where we're getting bombarded by these concepts that are slowly erasing all these thoughts and ideas and belief systems that we've been given over life, bringing us into what is the reality, what is the truth, what is in harmony with our life and with our world. You know, what has nothing to do with politics, what has nothing to do with systems, you know, what is the reality in all of it. So this channel provides this tremendous emotional blast of energy to us. We're all going to be manifestors for these next few months by transit. So the whole thing about being in this manifesting environment is to realize things are going to happen. We're going to walk in on a situation and things are going to happen. We're going to do something that we thought was really simple and straightforward, and it's going to trigger things. And the great thing is, while this is all happening, you know, to see emotions are going to get severely challenged. And since we've all been locked down or repressed in some way or other for these last months because of the virus, you know, chances are the energy is going to rise very quickly. So my way of looking at this, apart from seeing the volatility that comes into it, I'm going to see the great capability, the doors opening to us to be able to manage things in a very, very different way than we have done before, to discover things that have been in front of our nose, but we haven't been able to see before. And all of a sudden, there they are. But to see also, we're going to get challenged emotionally. And the great thing to do is when you have a challenging situation in front of you, you feel the emotional energy rising, do what my granny always used to tell me. Take a deep breath. Yeah, take a deep breath. You know, the tendency to want to jump in and be all caught up in it, involved and angry and upset and all that stuff. My granny, she was so wise. She was a Victorian, born in 1886, just the most beautiful woman. Goodness knows what she went through in her life. But she had this experience of just seeing, you know, you can go overboard with the emotion or you can come to terms with it and just see it. So this is my reminder for all of us in these next weeks and months ahead. Yes, the doorways of discovery are opening up onto a very deep and profound level, if we allow it, into deep spiritual realms, if we choose to. But also to see the volatility of getting into arguments, fights, discussions, whatever, and just to be very, very watchful about that.
And speaking of volatility, let's take a look at the full moon coming up on August 3rd. So the full moon happens when, of course, every month the moon moves into exact 80-degree opposition to the sun. So this one happens at almost 12 degrees of Aquarius, while the sun is just about 12 degrees of Leo. And that happens every year. It's great. It just brings to fruition our new creativity that's been going on since the sun went into Leo. However, this year, Uranus, the planet of, shake up, wake up,
shake and bake.
Right, the breakthroughs into higher levels of consciousness and higher perspectives that come usually through quite a bit of challenge. Uranus, it can just upset the apple cart right here in an exact right angle with the sun and the moon. So what we see there is that we're all going to be deeply challenged to find our clarity amidst all the chaos in the world, all the different news or different conversations going on in the world, to find our own balance and our own clarity in the middle of it. It's time to announce and proclaim new values that are being adapted or being, coming into realization, and really take a stand for those new values. It's revolutionary energy. It's changes that break the mold. And it's here to make way for new creativity. Also, we've got Mercury, the planet of communication, as I shared, still in Cancer, in an exact opposition to Saturn. And essentially what that means is Saturn is where the rubber meets the road. And what that's saying is it's decision time. We can't waffle anymore. We can't have one foot in one world and one in the other. We need to get, both feet in the place that we actually choose and make a commitment. So it's decision time. Decision time about how we're going to be, how we're going to show up in life, the values that are important for us, what we will commit to, and how we begin living in a new way in this time of the age of Aquarius, the age of humanity. It's a world community now. We're no longer just this separate little conglomerate of countries. So how are we going to start getting along as a world? We might start with learning how to get along as a country, for one thing, but beyond that, how are we going to get along as a world? So big revolution, much like you were saying, where we really have a shakeup to the core. But that shakeup stimulates breakthroughs. So it's a good thing. And at the same time, the Chiron, which is has to do with the linking of the higher self and the lower self, so that connection between spirit and form, is forming a very positive aspect into all of this apparent chaos, bringing healing and humanitarian possibilities and options that we perhaps haven't thought of before. Going along with that is new visionary ideas that begin to surface with a beautiful Jupiter expansion, Neptune, high vision, those linking aspects of high vision, bringing the expansion through the new vision that births within us. So at the same time, we've got the old world sort of breaking up and falling apart, and it's, none too comfortable. We have the new world beginning. And it truly is a new time. We're right here on the precipice of the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And it's this generation, it's all of us who are here to see that time see it through, pass it on to the younger generation, give them all the help that we can give them, since God knows, we haven't always been as helpful to the younger generation, and really empower them to take this world into that new conversation of global community and benefit for all. So healing humanity's sense of helplessness and really coming into an empowered place. And this is where human design is such a pivotal, important new tool for the Aquarian age. because it gives us a quick way to go, I don't know about quick, but a certain way that can be fairly quick to get to our truth and begin living our truth from our own internal core. When we do that, when more and more and more people do that on the planet, we begin to have truly the beginning of creating an entirely new world.
What I always say about human design is it's a device that brings us into present tense on your own terms. So it really is all about you in the end, how you designed yourself to come into this world and live out this lifetime in the most creative way possible. So talking about this full moon, the sun has moved into gateway number 33, which is the gateway of retreat, and it's in the 5th line. And opposite the earth and the moon in gateway number 19. 19 is a very particular gateway. It's the gateway we call approach. It's one of 4 directional gateways. And it has a lot to do with finding out what it is that we really need. A lot of us spend our times considering what it is we really want or what we think we want. But underneath it all is, what's the foundation of our wants? What do we actually need? What is implicit in our requirements for this lifetime? And what we're all going to be finding is that whether we've been aware of it or not, I mean, most of us will have been aware of it, but this is opening up a lot of people to actually making direct footsteps into their spiritual journey. That's what the 19th gateway does. It opens up that possibility. And the 5th line is the line that's called delegating. Offering up personal initiatives to capable helpers. Now, probably all of us are aware of the idea of being in the zone of excellence. What it is in our lives that just we're so good at, and it's like if we only could spend all our time doing it or more time doing it, the creation will be unlimited. And the thing of it is realizing that so much of the foundation of how things have been going on before have been removed. It's really what this full moon is saying is it's a great time to look around and see, okay, there are certain things in my life I'm really not very good at, but maybe it could be passed on to somebody else who really, that is their zone of excellence. So that great thing of looking around, as Carola says, it's now global community. Everyone's got great ideas of doing all kinds of different things in life. And just seeing that, can we pass things on to other people? Can we open that possibility? Now, I've said to you that Venus has gone into gateway number 12. It's making up this channel of this channel of openness, opening up doorways in very, very different areas of our lives, providing doorways where before we just saw a brick wall. And we have the possibility to step through those doorways. So Venus is going in there, and at the same time, in the next 24 hours, to the 4th of August, the nodes move. And the nodes have everything to do with the destiny path for humanity. And very interestingly, the North Node, which is where we're aiming towards, the 11th gateway is the South Node, where we're coming from, which is all about peace and harmony and ideas, and what makes for a wonderful world around us. But the 12th gateway is the gateway called Stand Still. And this is the gateway that you'd have to say all of us, in a sense, have been brought to a grinding halt in many of the expectations we've had about life and how it's supposed to be. The North Node drops into gateway number 12 with the 6th line. As I said, it's going to stay in that 12th gateway all the way through the beginning of October. So we're going to have this manifesting channel, this 1222, this openness channel. The 6th line is very, very particular. I'll read it to you. It's called transforming. Amazing changes can come out of periods of standstill. So just for us all to be aware that, as Carol is saying, we really are on a threshold of something amazing here. So many people have found themselves out of a job, out of a way of life, maybe out of their house even, having to confront life in a very, very different way. And we've all been held up one way or another. And really, this is a point in time where there's a massive reinvention can take place. To leave behind the whole idea of the rule systems, the belief systems, it's supposed to be, I'm entitled to have this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden seeing, my goodness, there's something completely different being made possible to me. And of course, times of transformation, they take a lot of courage. They take quite a lot of valor to be able to step forward and move into these possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But here it is. You know, somehow or other, we signed up for this. You know, I describe our generation as the ones that have our foot in the door. You know, we're trying to stop the door from shutting, you know, going back into the old ways of war and destruction and all these stupid things that we've gone through and, you know, tried out and it didn't work. And the other side of it is, instead of putting all our energies towards things that are destructive, armaments and militaries and goodness knows what, if that energy can be put towards something creative instead, what an extraordinary planet we're going to have. Mm-hmm. And we really are, you know, moving into this age out of the old pattern of evolution, you know, just trusting, well, you know, this thing leaves the nest, the survival of the fittest. And what people are beginning to realize now, it's not the survival of the fittest that succeeds. It's the survival of the friendliest. So, you know, a whole new concept. When we start making friends, all of a sudden, what was just an evolutionary process starts turning into an evolution, a conscious co-creation evolution. It's a whole different new game in town.
Absolutely. You know, if you could just take a moment to imagine, what would this world be like if we were all living from a place of connectedness within ourselves, connectedness with our core essence, with our divine essence, and connectedness with each other? What really would this work? I mean, can you imagine that on a global scale? Imagine if every one of, how many people are on the planet now? 7 billion or something. Every one of all the billions of us were living in a state of love and holding that as the value. Love, connectedness, creativity, sharing. Can you imagine how abundant this world would be? How quickly it would become abundant? How we'd have clean water running and rich soil, and, you know, how everyone on the planet would have all their needs met, you know, food and shelter and the care that they need. How simple it would be if we all simply came into that place of alignment. It really is just coming into alignment. This is what these times are about. And it is this younger generation coming behind us, those born at the latter part of the 20th century and into the beginning of the 21st century, who are going to take the wand from us and carry it forward to create a new world. What is it that we can give them? You know, what can we demonstrate in our own lives? And what is it that we can leave them with that will be of great value? So here we are going through this highly creative month of August. And, you know, August it's with the sun's in Leo, it's supposed to be a time of fun and play and lightness, but it's a time of creativity as well. And so if our creativity goes into new expression, if there's a new vision, because the old ways just aren't working, a lot of the structures of society are simply crumbling, we're remaking ourselves, we're reinventing ourselves. So how are you reinventing your own life? How are each of us reinventing our own lives? And can that be your creative project in addition to getting your windows washed and your carpets cleaned? You know, we're busy reinventing a lot of our programs. So we're reinventing a lot in many, many aspects of our company. We're really excited that that'll be done by the end of the year, and we'll be able to really be in a new place of service, much higher service and much more connected. How are you transforming your life? How are you taking lemons and making lemonade? That's the creativity of this August. It's innovative. It's something completely new. We have a third quarter moon on August 11th. And when the third quarter moon comes in a monthly cycle, it's like we've come through the new moon, the first quarter where we got really going on the projects of the month, the full moon where we brought them to some form of fruition. And now the third quarter moon, we're beginning to bring things all to a point where they're readying for completion. So whatever else that you've really wanted to get accomplished this month, or to make sure that you experience this month or learn this month, this would be the time. We're talking August 10, 11, 12, right there around that third quarter moon, which actually happens on the 11th, to ramp up the action to complete your goals. So the sun's still in the sign of Leo. Mercury now picking up speed. Mercury, the planet of communication, how we connect ourselves in our world with others. Also in Leo, picking up speed. These two are going to come together, the sun and Mercury. And both of them forming a very flowing triangle to Mars in Aries. So I was talking about Mars being the planet of action. It's our work in the world. It's our business, what we do to make a living. And Mars is getting highly energized right now with a tremendous amount of creative energy that's catalyzing some creative solutions and, bringing us to a point where it's time to make decisive plans, to really begin to see our way forward, which was difficult to see for quite some time. The planet Mars also forming a right angle with Pluto, simply saying the old ways of working and relating in the world are just needing to be reinvented, which is basically what we already said. So the planetary aspects are simply reflecting that, they're underscoring it, time for reinvention. That's the third quarter moon as I see it.
Yeah. So interesting, as we come around that third quarter moon, we have two channels that show up by transit. The first is the leadership channel of 731, which is the logical leadership. So leading up to the 11th, we're going to get this idea, oh, well, these are the plans I need to be putting in place. These are the things I need to be arranging. And then just a little later on, the channel shifts to the 1333, where it's the other leadership channel where we kind of start summating what our experience is and look for the value. Did the things that we did, or the things that we put our energy towards, did they turn out in a way that brought us some kind of fulfillment? Can we put a cap on it? Is it complete? Is it done? Or is there still things that need to be investigated? There is still this tremendous manifesting energy that I'm talking about, this emotional manifesting energy. So do remember this thing when you're confronted by a situation that could be explosive, take a deep breath. There's a lot of babies and bathwaters being thrown out together at the moment. In America, there's all kinds of statues and ideas, that come from part of the American history. It's a very young country, as countries go. And a lot of things are just being thrown out and destroyed. Like, these things don't have value. Actually, they're rather confrontative still. And there's going to be a lot of that energy, a lot of that thing. Hey, you've been ignoring us. We need reparations. We need all these things fixing in our lives. And just to be aware, yes, all these things can take place, but there's ways and ways in which they can be done. And just to see, getting in an argument with somebody, whether it's on, the Facebook argument is completely futile, but, a confrontational argument with anybody on some level is just, it's ridiculous sometimes, because when the storm goes past, we all see, well, what was that all about? So just to be aware, it is a volatile time. There's ideas going to come forward to us, we've got to do this, and then we see, well, maybe not, and maybe we've got to do something different. And just to see, in all of it, there has to be that balance. There has to be that internal balance. I can't kind of overemphasize the possibility for our huge understanding at the moment. Being able to see our lives in a way that's never been available to us before. Mm. We might have a whole lifetime of being a meditator, and all of a sudden we're going to start getting these really crunchy insights. These things that just, oh my goodness, how did I possibly miss that? And all of a sudden it's just so obvious. And, when situations get too much and people get a little bit too much, and you can't deal with it anymore, remember, we have this amazing nature around us. Find a garden, find a park somewhere or other, be in nature, watch the birds, watch the animals, watch the rivers, see nature is always just being nature. And this is our place to play. Mm. So in that time when things just get a little bit too much, remember that there is that magical resource for us.
Right. The connection to Gaia, planet Earth, and the energy here, which is just astoundingly beautiful. Let's take a look a little further into August. Let's look at the 19th of August, where we have a new moon. Here we've got the new moon at 26 degrees of Leo, together with Mercury, 28 degrees of Leo. So a new moon, if you remember, it starts the beginning of a whole new 30-day cycle. So this cycle is going to be characterized again by high creativity. There's some aspects that totally support that. So I'm going to go through some of those acts and looking at as we get into the latter part and the wrapping up of August. But just a reminder, we will be broadcasting again on August 22nd. So do tune in with us then to take a little closer look at the remainder of August and into the coming month of September. You know, that old blessing, what is it, an ancient proverb or something? May you be born in interesting times.
Yes.
I mean, are we? Are these interesting times? Okay, let's look at this. So here we are, a new moon on August 19th. And that new moon, so new moon brings new creativity when it's in Leo, along with new pathways of communication when Mercury's there, right? And it's in this beautiful triangle energy to Mars, this flowing energy to Mars in Aries. That's going to bring high creativity and lots of breakthrough kind of actions that we begin to at least see or catalyze or know we're about to put into motion. So potentially at this time, and some aspects also to that new moon are telling us that this may be the beginning of the time to sort of bring the ship around. You know, we've been a little bit out in the storm, and you know, getting a hold of the ship has been quite challenging, continues to be, but just beginning to bring the ship around so we start to sail again with a confidence that we know what we're doing in these new times and we know how to navigate these new times. It's a powerful time of reflection as well as a powerful time of inspiration to new action. So with the last few days of the sun being in Leo, we've got a powerful imprint for new creativity and high gear productivity before the sun then finds its way into the sign of Virgo, which it does on the 22nd. The other thing I think that's important to note is that, of course, Mars, in addition to these flowing aspects it's making with the Leo, with the Sun and Mercury in Leo, it's also still very much in this, this challenge to the old structures, to the Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn conjunction, which is breaking down old structures, old societal structures, the way we do and organize our lives around politics and medicine and education and so forth and so on. You know, all the systems that we've taken for granted for the past hundreds and hundreds of years, all now sort of crumbling at our feet and needing reinvention. So this period of time is catalytic for that reinvention to really begin happening in earnest. We're reaching some critical mass for new systems and new ways to come forward. At the same time, we're healing some of the old misunderstandings in terms of our value systems and our belief systems.
So just moving to this new moon that's taking place, early hours or late hours of the 18th.
Yeah. It's at 7:43 p.m. Pacific.
There we are. So this happens when the sun and the moon together in gateway number 29. The 29 is the gateway of saying yes. I'm always reminded about these, you know, there used to be a whole series of reality TV shows. And there was one that was called, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So, you know, these celebrities were on a TV show where they were put in very difficult circumstances. And, you know, they kind of wanted to pull rank or pull privilege, get me out of here, whatever it takes. That's something to do with the gateway number 29. It's to say, I'll say yes to anything, just, you know, move it on for me. Let me do something different. And so there's going to be quite a push at that time. We're all, you know, figuring out what is this new reality we're in. And just to be on alert, you know, from the 18th onwards, or just be aware of being offered things and, you know, maybe having the temptation, let me just jump into this thing and somehow it'll take me into a different reality. A great friend of mine put a book my way the other day. It's called In Love with the World, and it's by one of the Rinpoches. He is actually a tulku who was a recognized incarnation, and as such, you know, was given his own monastery, given his own tutor, and, you know, there's very, very... And he's attained so much through his meditation, but he's never been outside of a situation where he was always being looked after or tended towards. And he makes a break for it. And he goes out of the community, he leaves a note behind, and he goes out into the world. And all of a sudden he realizes, you know, this is the real challenge. These are things and people and situations that I've never confronted before in my life. And it's just a fascinating study from someone who is very highly spiritual adept, but putting himself into a worldly situation and recounting from his brilliance of meditation in accordance with, you know, what the world presents to him. And he literally becomes a beggar in the world, you know, has that extraordinary experience. So definitely I'd recommend that in this time. You know, we've all been thrust into a very, very different circumstance, and I'd really recommend this book, In Love with the World, by one of the Rinpoches. The manifesting energy continues. It's going to go all the way through September. It's going to go all the way into the beginning of October. So we're all going to realize, you know, the kettle is on the boil at the moment. There's all kinds of things coming up. And as Carol is saying, you know, at this time, so much creativity can come through us. So in an impossible situation, you know, we've all been given gifts. You know, look at your design. The gifts are in there. They cannot be avoided. The great thing is to let them come out in a way that is in accordance with the design, you know, following your own authority.
So, of course, I'll remind you that we're going to be back with you again on the 22nd of August. And I also want to remind you of the Human Design Reading Special, because that will be expiring right around that time. So now is the time, if you know you want to have this service, take a look at it and see if it resonates for you, get your clarity about it, and go ahead and sign up for this life-changing experience. It's probably one of the most pivotal, important things that you can do for yourself in this year of massive change, massive global awakening, is to get totally aligned with your design, not just with the information of it mentally, but viscerally. Okay, so let's look at what happens next in the movement of the moon and the sun. We've got a first quarter moon on August 25th. The sun will be moving into the sign of Virgo. I think it does that on the 23rd, the 22nd, 23rd of August.
Yeah.
And so then we'll have a whole new game playing, right? So instead of the sun in Leo, this planet of expansion and, creativity and pleasure, the sun goes into Virgo, which has to do with refinement. It has to do with getting things very practical. All right, so we've had all these great creative ideas. Now, how do we implement them? How do we put them into form and into expression? What are the steps that we need to take? It's still a very highly creative time as the sun goes through Virgo in the early parts of Virgo towards all the light. It's building up to this triangle with Uranus, which we know is highly inventive, innovative, breaks the mold, brings us into new possibilities, new awarenesses, breaks us into a fifth dimensional reality instead of a third dimensional reality. We've got inspired vision happening, very powerful at this time with Venus moving into the latter degrees of the sign of Cancer, forming this beautiful triangle with Neptune. In a way, you kind of can't get much better than that. Venus and Neptune in a beautiful triangle in the water signs. It's highly creative. It's highly inspirational. It's just beaming love. So if we can allow ourselves to be aware that we can be in an expansion and we can be generous in that expansion. We have inspired vision moving us to trust that inspired vision. This aspect keeps building and building. It's exact on the 27th of August. So go with your inspired vision, lean into it, create it, let it move you, let it inspire you. There's a lot going on at this period of time that's giving us sort of the green light to move forward with many things that have been a bit on hold. We've got a first quarter moon in Sagittarius on the 25th of August, which begins the buildup of momentum for this whole month-long period while the sun's in Virgo, of refining, putting together, taking things into practical expression. At the same time, we still have this very high vision and high inspiration flowing. At the same time as that, we still have the planet Mars in this, it's been, so Mars is about our work in the world. And it has been in the sign of Aries, which is its home sign, for quite a while now. It's taking a long transit through there. And as it's done so, this entire month of August, it's basically, really since late July, it's been either in a right angle to Jupiter in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, and now Saturn in Capricorn. Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, which are responsible for the sort of the crumbling, the dying age of Pisces and the awakening into the Aquarian age, and the big death and rebirth of a lot of the structures in our society. And this month, Mars has been challenging those aspects, which basically means it's not a bad thing. Those challenges catalyze action, and Mars is a planet of action. So it means, what are you actually going to put into action? There's one thing sitting around moaning about things.
Easy done.
Easy done. But it's another thing to find your inspiration, get your clarity, follow your design, and take action. And that's what Mars is moving us towards at this catalytic time in the latter part of August.
So just as we come towards the end of the merry month of August, and it is a pivotal month, pivotal time for all of us, so much can happen, so much transformation can happen. But it's always the case, you move into a transformation and certain things have just got to drop away. And the more comfortable we can be with that, allowing things to just go away, because when we look at them closely, maybe they're a bit out of date, or they don't actually match what it is that we've wanted to do in our lives. We're all being given the opportunity to totally reinvent our lives at the moment and move towards that thing of living in the present, which is the reality ultimately. So the 22nd is a very, very strong charge of energy that will go right through all of us, an emotional charge. And I just say be very aware of that on Saturday, the 22nd, 23rd. Again, it's purely transformational. And afterwards, we'll probably want to stop and take a deep breath and, wow, what was that all about? But it is just a very, very powerful time for all of us at the moment. There's growth, there's increase. Remember, when you say yes to something, the real yes, the really profound yes leads us towards a place of fulfillment. And fulfillment is a personal experience. And to me, the joy, I put my head on a pillow at night and I just say to myself, what an amazing day that was. Yeah. That I've been engaging with people, I've been engaging with situations, I've been smiling, I've been laughing, I've been cracking jokes with people and listening to beautiful music and just remembering, what an extraordinary opportunity we're given to have this life experience. Nobody really knows what life is. It's a mystery. It's a personal mystery for each one of us. And just the fact that planet Earth and all of its inhabitants are going through this extraordinary transformation at the moment. You know, we signed up for this.
Yeah.
So be of good heart. When things get a little crazy in front of you, be in the center of the cyclone. Let the cyclone rage around you if it needs to. Be very particular whether you want to step into it or not. You know, be in your center, be clear. And when situations come up, remember that clarity. Take a deep breath, and see what happens.
So we're here. Once again, let us hear from you. Shaitan's often on social media. You can go over there and communicate, connect with us if you like. Take a look at the Human Design Reading Special. See if that calls to you. This is the month to do that. As I said, I think this will be the last time that we offer this at this price. And we'll be back with you again on the 22nd of August.
So have an amazing time, and you know, just recognize the tremendous opportunity that's available for all of us in these days. All right.
All right.
We'll see you again.
It's always
soon.
a joy.
Bye for now.